welcome to this week's episode of A Drink from Upstream. This is episode 51, and I've entitled it Isolation. I think I've mentioned to those of you who are regular listeners to this video devotion that I record these on Mondays, and it works best in my schedule, although I would say it's not my best day. Mondays are a day when I kind of typically have a little bit of a headache and not feeling physically 100%, but kind of emotionally drained as well. And so I work on Mondays and I try to get a lot done, but it's a day where I kind of want to be by myself. And I've got I'm slightly introverted. And so there's a need for me to be by myself typically. And the truth is Mondays are probably a good day for me to not be around a whole bunch of people. Although I do go into the office for a few hours to make sure that I'm on track there. Nonetheless, being alone for a time can be a good thing. And of course, that depends on your personality and all of that, with whether you're introverted or extroverted. But here's where I want to go. Being alone periodically can be a good and refreshing thing, but living in isolation is not a good thing. And even though there are certain, and this devotion wouldn't apply to the vast majority of people, but I do think that there's a group of people who are prone to this, and the Bible speaks to it in a way that encourages those of you who are prone to it to not go in that direction, even though that's your desire or that's your tendency. So there's this story in the book of Judges in the 18th chapter about a people who were, quote, quiet and unsuspecting. They lived in isolation. And there was another group of people who were seeking to acquire some land by way of force. And it says, and I'm just going to grab my Bible here, it says here in Judges 18 that those people who were trying to acquire land by force, it says, and they came to Laish, to a people quiet and unsuspecting, and struck them with the edge of the sword and burned the city with fire. And there was no deliverer because it was far from Sidon, and they had no dealings with anyone. So just a basic story illustration of how susceptible we are to, I guess you could call them attacks, whether that's delusions, whether that's depression, it could be a lot of different things, but we make ourselves vulnerable when we live in isolation, and I don't think it's a healthy thing for us. And so some people who are prone to it want to live in isolation, and if that's you, I want to encourage you, especially I think people who are prone to isolation. A lot of times they're nursing some hurts that they haven't been able to get over, and I mean it's understandable to a degree, but especially during the holidays, I think it's even more of a thing that you're prone to. And so I want to encourage you to not go in that direction. Okay, one more passage of scripture, and this comes out of the book of Proverbs, and it's actually Proverbs 18, and it's the first verse, and it says, whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. Now, of course, if a person likes to be by themselves, that is their desire. And so, but notice it says, he who isolates himself seeks his own desire. And then it says this is the counsel. This is the wise counsel. That person who seeks his own desire, who isolates himself, breaks out against all sound judgment. So to have a natural desire to want to be alone, okay, for a season, fine for some refreshing on a Monday morning. But to seek to live in isolation is to break out against all sound judgment. And so if that's you, if you're prone to that, then you can make a decision. You can decide not to be that and engage in some sort of activity, engage in other people's lives. If you're a part of a church family, look at their holiday schedule. Certainly, if you're a part of the City Point Church family that I'm the pastor of, there's plenty of opportunities to engage with other people in these holidays. And so I just want to encourage you in that. If you're prone to it, don't give yourself to it. Make a different decision. God bless you.